It was a methodical dismantling, an exposure of CNN's tactics in real time, all under the glare of the cameras. So how did Caroline Leavitt do it? What exactly happened in that room that left Caitlin Collins stunned, scrambling for control? The answer was about to send shockwaves through the media world. The press room was alive with a quiet buzz that afternoon, a mix of hushed murmurs and the rhythmic clatter of keyboards. Anticipation hung heavy in the air. Every journalist was waiting for their moment to strike. Rows of reporters, some seasoned veterans, others eager newcomers, sat with notepads open, eyes flicking between Caroline Leavitt and their prepped questions. The goal was always the same: find the weak spot, push the right buttons, create the controversy. But Caroline wasn't an easy target. From the moment she stepped behind the podium, the questions came hard and fast. Immigration policy, economic figures, foreign relations. One by one, reporters tried to throw her off balance. Each time she responded with precision, unwavering, controlled. She delivered facts, dismantled misrepresentations, and turned attempted ambushes into moments of clarity. It became increasingly evident this wouldn't be one of those briefings where the press walked away victorious, shaping the narrative on their terms. Then Caitlin Collins spoke. The room seemed to shift. Her voice carried the signature confidence of someone who had never lost control of an exchange, until now. She wasn't here just to ask a question. She was here to set a trap. And that's when the real battle began, at tea. The center of the clash was a single phrase: Gulf of America. Collins wasted no time launching her attack. Leaning forward, her voice sharpened with the practiced outrage CNN had perfected over the years. "Is it true," she pressed, "that the Associated Press was barred from covering the president's remarks simply because they refused to call it the Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico? How does this align with the administration's supposed commitment to the First Amendment?" It was a classic move: frame the administration as authoritarian, make it seem like they were dictating speech, plant the seed of controversy that would dominate the evening headlines. The room went silent, waiting for Caroline to stumble, to hesitate to give them the soundbite they needed. But that moment never came. Caroline met Collins's gaze, unwavering. Her response was swift and precise. "I was crystal clear in my first briefing," she said, her tone deliberate, cutting through the noise like a scalpel. "If news outlets choose to push false narratives, if they intentionally misrepresent facts, we will hold them accountable. And the fact is, the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. That is not up for debate. That is the official designation by the Secretary of the Interior, recognized by Apple, Google, and multiple authoritative sources." Then, she delivered the knockout line. "The real question, Caitlin, is this: why is CNN so resistant to reality?" The shift in the room was palpable. Some reporters shifted in their seats. A few exchanged glances. Others quickly jotted down notes. Collins, momentarily caught off guard, blinked. This wasn't the response she had expected. She had anticipated defensiveness, an attempt at damage control. Instead, Caroline had flipped the script on her. Collins attempted to recover, but Caroline wasn't finished. "What exactly is the issue here?" she continued. "Would you argue if we called it the Atlantic Ocean? Would you challenge the name of the Rocky Mountains? Or is it only when this administration makes a factual designation that the press suddenly finds it controversial?" A murmur rippled through the room. The power dynamic had shifted. The hunter had become the hunted. Collins, determined to regain control, doubled down. "So you're saying this White House will retaliate against journalists who don't use government-approved language?" Caroline's expression remained unchanged. She had seen this tactic before: twist the response, reframe it as authoritarianism, make it seem like the government was the aggressor. But she wasn't playing that game. "I'm saying that words matter," she replied, calm and composed. And it's interesting how the same media that had no problem using terms like birthing person instead of mother or calling riots peaceful protests suddenly finds it outrageous when this administration simply acknowledges a fact. Silence. Collins's lips pressed together. She had no comeback. But outside the press room, the battle was just beginning. In real time, Twitter was already exploding. Clips of the exchange flooded social media. Caroline Levitt just wrecked CNN on live TV, one conservative influencer posted. For years, certain networks have selectively covered stories that fit their agenda, while ignoring those that don't. Now, for the first time, they're being challenged. Instead of addressing their credibility issues, they're crying foul. The words hit like a hammer. Reporters exchanged glances, some furiously scribbling notes, others simply staring. This wasn't just another press briefing. This was a reckoning. Outside, the internet was on fire. Caroline Levitt just dropped the hammer on the mainstream. Media. White House flips the script, calls out press bias, live. Brutal. She's not letting them spin the story this time. Inside MSNBC's headquarters, panic set in. Producers scrambled to control the damage, drafting op-eds and tweaking headlines to soften the blow. But the reality was unavoidable. Caroline had just exposed the media's playbook in real time. And for the first time in a long time, the public wasn't buying the spin. Even as she moved on to the next question, Caroline knew the press wasn't finished. They weren't just playing defense anymore, they were preparing for war. The press briefing had turned into a battleground. Caroline Levitt had dismantled CNN, exposed MSNBC's agenda, and flipped the media's narrative on its head. But the press wasn't done fighting. A voice cut through the noise, a New York Times reporter. If this administration is so committed to accountability, he asked, can you clarify the terms of the recent prisoner exchange with Russia? Did the president discuss Ukraine as part of that deal? A sharp pivot. This was no longer about media bias or press access. This was an attempt to drag the White House into a geopolitical storm. Caroline remained unfazed. I was not involved in those discussions, so I can't comment on whether Ukraine was brought up. But what I can say is this. This was an incredibly strong deal for the United States. We secured the release of an American citizen in exchange for a nonviolent Russian cybercriminal who has forfeited over $100 million in illicit funds. That is what leadership looks like. A few reporters shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't the answer they wanted. They weren't here to report the administration's success. They were here to frame a scandal. The Times reporter pressed harder. This exchange coincided with Russia and Ukraine entering peace talks. Can this administration confirm whether President Trump made any guarantees to Putin regarding territorial concessions? There it was, the trap. If Caroline confirmed anything, even vaguely, the media would twist it into a Trump sides with Putin headline. She wasn't about to let that happen. The president has appointed an expert team of negotiators to handle all discussions, she replied crisply. He is personally involved in these efforts and will make his position clear at the appropriate time. But I won't speculate on diplomatic conversations I wasn't part of. A calculated dodge, but an effective one. She hadn't given them an inch. But outside the press room, the media machine was already in motion. Within minutes, headlines twisted her response. White House dodges Trump-Putin question. Caroline Levitt refuses to deny concessions to Russia. Is the administration hiding something? It didn't matter what she actually said. The media had its story, and they were running with it. But this wasn't 2016. The media couldn't manufacture a controversy and expect blind belief. The full exchange was everywhere, uncut, unedited, impossible to manipulate. The public saw what really happened. For the first time in a long time, the media's credibility was being questioned in real time. Their usual tactics, twisting words, reframing narratives, selectively cutting clips, were failing. They had spent years shaping public perception, knowing most Americans would only read the headline, but not this time, not anymore. The press had tried to bait Caroline, but she had embarrassed them instead. The comment sections told the real story. They're trying so hard to frame this as a scandal, but she literally answered everything. Why does the media keep acting like facts are optional? CNN thought they could trap her, but she just humiliated them in. For decades, the media thrived on control, deciding which stories mattered, which details got buried, which narratives dominated. They built entire careers as the self-proclaimed gatekeepers of truth. But now, that monopoly was crumbling, and the reason was simple. Trump had changed everything. Love him or hate him, he did what no other Republican dared. He fought back. He exposed their bias. He turned every attack into fuel for his movement. And the result? People stopped trusting the press. Caroline wasn't just answering questions. She was continuing Trump's legacy of exposing the media's game in real time. Inside CNN, panic set in. The usual formula wasn't working. The spin operation launched. Pundits flooded the airwaves with analysis, trying to shift focus from facts to manufactured outrage. She dodged the Russia question. She refused to address the free press issue. But outside their echo chamber, the public wasn't buying it. Caroline had done something far more damaging than just winning an argument. She had pulled back the eye curtain on their tactics. And now, people were paying attention. The real question wasn't, will the media recover from this? It was, can they survive in a world where people don't believe them anymore? Their grip was slipping, and they knew it. For years, they dictated reality. If they all pushed the same story, it became the truth. But now, that power was gone. The press briefing had been their moment, a chance to manufacture another scandal, to control the narrative. Instead, it had backfired spectacularly. Caroline hadn't just defended the administration. She had exposed the media itself in front of millions, and the fallout was brutal. The View framed Caroline's performance as an attack on democracy. But when they uploaded their segment to YouTube, the dislike count skyrocketed. So it's only democracy when the media controls the conversation? Caroline answered every question, and y'all are acting like she threatened your careers. Oh, wait, maybe she did. CNN got embarrassed, and now the whole media is panicking. This is hilarious. At MSNBC, producers scrambled to salvage the story. Their original plan, portraying the briefing as a scandal, was collapsing in real time. They needed a new strategy, a new villain, and they found one: Trump. Within hours, the narrative shifted. Caroline Leavitt's combative tactics reflect a dangerous trend set by Trump. Leavitt's attack on the press is straight from the Trump playbook. The real question: did Trump direct Leavitt's aggressive press strategy? Predictable. When the media couldn't attack the facts, they attacked the person behind them. But there was one major problem. Trump wasn't in the White House anymore. Caroline wasn't a puppet. She wasn't a mouthpiece. She was a force of her own, and that scared them the most. The media had spent years targeting Trump, but now, they weren't just fighting him. They were fighting an entire movement. And for the first time, it felt like they were losing. The question wasn't, how does the media spin this? It was, can the media survive the revolution already happening? And the terrifying part? That answer wasn't up to them. It was up to the people.